This pattern is a legacy of the pre-freeway era, and we're moving into now maybe a post-freeway era. We have to think about what, based on economics and demographics, is going to be really sustainable in terms of if we can give the land much more use and value.
SB 375 encourages regions to grow differently than they have in the past by concentrating on density and infill, particularly in close proximity to transit.
Basically, the denser, more diverse, with better proximity to destinations and lower distance to transit the development is, the better designed it is for pedestrians, the more people use alternative modes of transportation, and the converse is true.
America evolved into a suburban nation during the latter half of the 20th century. But due to changing demographics and housing preferences, new growth will be different, more inwardly focused.
About 15 to 20% of the new household formations are going to be families with children. The other 75 to 85% are going to be other. That's who we're building for, and that's who's going to populate this country. And the question is, what is the built environment for them?
I cannot overstate how deeply ingrained low-density, single-use residential suburbs are in American culture, and its emphasis on private space. I see the car actually as an extension of that privatization of space. If we are trying to move people out of their cars and onto sidewalks, bike lanes, and transit, then we're moving them from the private realm to the public realm. And it begins to suggest that we have to do a lot to make the public realm a desirable place to go, that the public realm gets better with density, not worse with density. But it's essential that it's high quality, because there's no way you're going to walk down the street if it's not high quality.
If we take a look at the historical land use patterns, we can see how our communities have evolved as a result of our dependence on the automobile.
So you can see this is the diagram of kind of succession, where you have the old downtown that's landlocked, not tied to an arterial. Businesses first move out to the arterial where the land is cheaper and equally accessible. And then in the late 20th century, the big boxes and the retail centers forming out on the crossroads of the freeway. So then you see this pattern of succession.
Today's arterials are the prime territory for redevelopment, providing an excellent opportunity for infill that reinforces mixed-use transit corridors and connects hierarchical centers. New and more compact urban form reduces VMT through a variety of means.
On average, if you double density, you get something like a 5% reduction in VMT. And then you do the mix of land uses and you get another 5% or so, and then you have pedestrian-friendly design. And those three are additive, so maybe you can get a 15% reduction in VMT through mixed-use development in an outlying location, whereas you could probably get more than that just by putting any development at all in a central location.
Currently, the Bay Area is pursuing a regional redevelopment policy called the Focus Initiative, which could make new growth patterns a reality.
What you see on the map in dark blue are priority development areas, or PDAs, and that's really where we're trying to make the development occur. Our commission adopted 2 years ago a policy for our transit expansion program that essentially says to communities that want a BART extension or want a light rail project or want a ferry terminal, we'd like to see some movement on your end on density, greater infill around those nodes.
There is no money directly attached to SB 375. And what we've seen through the priority development area process is that a lot of jurisdictions in the region are actually trying to take on what is often called smart growth. They want to do it in a better way than they have in the past, and we want to help them do that.
This approach could also be employed for preservation of key open space areas and farmlands, without precluding all development on greenfields.
There are very few growing regions in the nation that can satisfy all of its growth demand with infill. There's a proper proportion and there's a proper location for the greenfield development. That greenfield development has to have a future with transit. It has to be transit accessible at some point.